Hi, I'm Mindy. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing my wrap up for the Supersized, Supersmall Summer Reading Challenge that I helped to co-host. This amazing reading challenge was created by the Paper Traveler and was also co-hosted by Livriamer, the GKBC, and Nerdy Kathy. This challenge was to read supersized books over 700 pages and super small books under 200 pages during the summer, and I read a lot. I'm pretty impressed with what I got done. Not everything I had on my TBR but for this challenge, but a lot of stuff. Some things I didn't even plan on got added in there too. And I've been really loving watching everybody's videos, and everyone did so well. And I'm gonna start with my big books. I had 3 supersized books. The first one I finished in the summer was The Burning White by Brent Weeks. I read this entire series this year, and this last book fell right into June for the challenge. Perfect. This is 1,024 pages, and it has a wonderful magic system based on colors. People can use colors to create magic and all kinds of things. They can turn the colors into Luxin that can make a whole lot of things possible. And I love this series. It's one of my favorite fantasy series, and I'm glad that I read this. The next big book that I finished this summer was Gone with the Wind by Margaret Mitchell. I actually think I started this last summer for the Supersized Summer Challenge, and then I finished it this year during the summer, and I'm happy that I did, even though this is a product of its time and had some parts that were very hard to read because it takes place in the South during and after the Civil War, and the section just after the Civil War is particularly hard to read, but the all of the drama in this book is amazing. I couldn't help loving to hate most of the characters in here. I am glad I read it. This was also for my 40 books to read before I'm 40 that I'm trying to finish. Well, I was trying to finish it before I turned 41 because I didn't make it by 40. Now I'm trying for 42. One book closer. The last big book that I finished in the month was an audiobook for Our Share of Night by Mariana Enriquez, and the audiobook was 27 and change hours, and the UK edition of the book is 736 pages, so it just barely meets the supersized parameters. And it kind of is questionable because the US edition is apparently 588 pages. I am going with the biggest one because that was a long audiobook. It took a long time, and I feel like I achieved something finishing that audiobook. This is a story with occult elements, and it's a story of a father and son with kind of a strained relationship, and where the son ends up. Basically, it's the kid's entire life, this book, which is why it's so long. And I really enjoyed some parts of it, and I didn't like other parts because they kind of dragged. So that is, I don't know. I'm glad I listened to the audiobook because I wouldn't have made it through the physical book, I don't think. Now for the small books. I actually read 9 books under 200 pages during the summer, and let me show you. Okay, the first one that I finished is Jumping the Shark Matched with the Space Shark by Ash Raven, which is a monster romance with alien sharks. And they meet on a dating app. And a human goes to this space shark world. It's 159 pages, and I didn't really like this one very much. It was okay. It was definitely just cute romance, like really cute fluffy romance, only weird shark stuff. I don't know if I'm into it. Okay, and then Worst Laid Plans, an anthology of vacation horror. Perfect read for summer. This is edited by Samantha Kolesnik, and they're all different horror authors with various vacation horror stories, and I liked pretty much all of them. I think there was one that I could have done without, but the rest were really, really good. The Ocean at the End of the Lane by Neil Gaiman was next. I thought this was a really good fantasy, dark fantasy story. It still managed to be cute, even though it was dark themes. And I probably wouldn't have read this if I had heard some of the allegations going around about Neil Gaiman, but I didn't know at the time when I picked it up, or if I did hear about it, I had forgotten. So I read it. I liked it. That's all I got to say about that. The next one I finished was Wild Spaces by S.L. Coney, which is a weird horror book about a boy whose grandpa comes to town, and weird things start to happen with him. Another good short summer read. Oh, well, let me see. Did I say the page numbers at all? With a lot of, it's a coastal town and a lot of ocean themes in this one, and this is 122 pages. Worst Laid Plans was 180 pages. The Ocean at the End of the Lane was 181 pages. Next book that I finished for the Supersmall reading challenge is The Woods All Black by Lee Mandello. This is 150 pages. This is a historical horror book taking place in the 1920s in Appalachia. And it's a trans romance. So you can imagine there were some hostilities there for trans people, and there was actually quite a bit of research done on LGBT life in the 1920s for this book. I liked the first half quite a bit, and the second half I wasn't hugely a fan of. Next small book I finished was Your Shadow Half Remains by Sunny Moraine, which was 166 pages. And this was an an apocalyptic story where people cannot look at each other or they will go crazy and hurt themselves and others. And it's also a LGBT romance, so some people meet up even though they can't look at each other. It's also a horror story with the apocalyptic elements, and it's also kind of psychological. I really enjoyed The Shadow Half Remains. One of the standouts. Another book I finished was an ARC, and that's Beyond the Bounds of Infinity, edited by Vaughn A. Jackson and Stephanie Pierre. And this was an anthology of diverse horror, mostly cosmic horror. I really like seeing the cosmic thing seen from the perspective of many different backgrounds, and instead of just thinking like H.P. Lovecraft type of thing. Very, very good stories in here. I liked all of them. It was a great collection. Okay, two more. The second to last small book that I finished this summer was In a Watchful City. This is a science fiction book. Might be sci-fantasy. It's about this watcher, someone who watches over a city and can transport consciousness digitally through a machine into animals on the world to kind of watch over things. And the last book, small book I read this summer was Crypt of the Moon Spider by Nathan Ballingrud. This was a ARC, and it was 112 pages. That's a shorty. And it is a sci-fi horror book, kind of fantasy. It's got gothic vibes. It takes place on the moon. There's aliens in it. There's weird mental institution where they're doing experiments. And it's a weird one, and it was so good. I loved it so much. Did I say that Beyond the Bounds of Infinity was 190 pages, and In the Watchful City was 192 pages? That is all the big supersized and super small books that I read for this challenge. I read 3 big books for a total of 2,797 pages and 9 small books for 1,452 pages, for a total of 12 books for this challenge and a total of 4,249 pages. I'm gonna call that a super win. And I want to thank Kim from The Paper Traveler for letting me co-host with her this year, and to all the co-hosts, you all did great and it was so much fun. Let me know if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them. Have you read any supersized or super small books this summer? I'd love to hear about them, and I'll be back very soon with another book related video. Thanks. Bye.